And people have been realizing that for years where, hey, if you have one employer and they fire you, you get laid off, whatever, like you're out of revenue. If you're a VA and you have multiple clients and one drops you, still sucks, but not as big of a deal. So I think both sides are kind of realizing that the pros outweigh the cons nowadays, especially with technology and just the ability to hire people all over the world at different skill sets, different price points, full-time, part-time, project-based. And if you are going through struggles, I guess the only tip that I can give is just communicate at the highest possible level. If you have a team and they're probably worried and you're worried, communicate with them. Every business is hit differently. They might have 3 clients and all 3 clients are affected differently by this situation. So keep the communication option open. Try to give them some options. If you have to go into problem solving mode, hey, do you want to reduce your hours? Do you want to reduce your rate? Let's make this temporary. If you need other clients, give them a letter of referral. Post on social media, say, hey, I have a great VA. Anyone want them part-time so that you can fill up those extra hours? Just do everything possible to communicate it and help them out. And I do think if you haven't hired VAs before and this experience kind of opened up the eyes for it, then yeah, education on how to use virtual assistants is something that would have helped you with business before all of this and is only going to be more relevant going forward.
100%. And I think from when I was, reading up on what you've done with this and with FreeUp as well, I thought it was super interesting how you kind of clarify VAs and assistants in sort of different parts, where you sort of talk about the different levels of the experience that person has. Maybe we can speak to that a little bit too, because there's people out there that have 10, 15 years of experience and others that, maybe are going to do more hands-on granular work. What's your philosophy on that?
And you're right. I mean, VA to a lot of people is just a generic term, right? Like everyone that works from home is a virtual assistant. But the way that I personally like to divide it up is you got the followers, you got the doers, and you got the experts. So the followers are what I consider the VAs, $5 to $10 an hour, usually non-US. They have years of experience, but they're there to follow your system, your process. If you don't have systems and processes, you're going to struggle to hire those followers, those virtual assistants. The doers are the freelancers, the graphic designers, the writers, the video editors. You're not teaching a graphic designer how to be a graphic designer, but they're not consulting with you either. They're there to do that one specific task at a really high level over and over again. And then you got the experts. They could be $30 an hour. They could be $1,000 an hour. They're high-level freelancers, coaches, consultants, agencies that they bring their own system, their own process to the table. They have that strategy component. And just like you shouldn't hire a VA and say, hey, I don't know how to run Facebook ads, go run my Facebook ads for me. You shouldn't hire an expert who has their own system that they've had success with and say, hey, I'm hiring you, but I need you to do it my way. And making sure you hire the right levels and handle that relationship appropriately is really one of the keys to hiring.
Yeah, I think the skill set part is the key thing, right? Like, you fall into a career, you get one skill, and then you think that that's it, you're set. And obviously, you've had to reinvent and evolve with what you've done with all your 3 businesses. And I think a lot of people are going to find themselves moving more into that wheelhouse of reskilling and learning new skills on a continuous basis. So have you heard of the book Sapiens? Have you read that book?
No, I haven't.
It's the guy, is it Yuval Harari, I think is his name? He's got 3 books, and Sapiens is where he talks about like the history of society and how we're set to be sort of tight-knit communities that come together. But once you go over a certain number of like, I think 120, the processes have to change and evolve. But the reason I bring him up is in his latest book, I think it's 21 Ways for the 21st Century. He talks about kind of what I think we're starting to get into now, which is we're going to have to reskill maybe every decade or even every 5 years with the great technologies going. And